He mocked her fragile bones. She shattered his armor in one strike. The arena's crimson sand had witnessed countless battles, but never one quite like this. Commander Zephyr watched from the observation deck as the newest addition to the Galactic Defense Corps stepped into the fighting pit. Dr. Sarah Chen appeared impossibly small against the towering figure of Krextal, a veteran Gorvanian warrior whose exoskeleton gleamed like polished obsidian under the harsh arena lights. "This is ridiculous," muttered General Thorak, his forearms crossed in obvious displeasure. "The human female weighs barely 60 kilograms. Krextal could crush her with one hand." The crowd of mixed alien species murmured their agreement. Humans had been part of the galactic community for only 3 standard cycles, and their reputation preceded them. Clever, yes, but physically weak. Their bones were notoriously brittle compared to most spacefaring species, their muscles pathetic, their reflexes laughably slow. Dr. Chen stood calmly in the center of the arena, her regulation training suit making her look even more fragile. She was a xenobiologist by trade, not a warrior, but Galactic Corps regulations required all personnel to pass combat certification regardless of their primary role. Most species had petitioned for human exemption from this requirement, citing their obvious physical limitations. Krextal's mandibles clicked in what passed for Gorvanian laughter. At 3 meters tall and massing over 400 kilograms, he was considered moderately sized by his species standards. His natural armor plating could deflect plasma bolts, and his strength was legendary even among the Corps' elite fighters. "Little bone bag," Krextal's voice boomed through his translator, dripping with condescension. "I will try not to powder your fragile skeleton. Perhaps we should call for a medical team now, yes?" The crowd rippled with nervous laughter. Even among humans' allies, there was genuine concern. Commander Zephyr had seen the medical reports. Human bone density was roughly half that of most spacefaring species. Their calcium-based skeletal structure seemed almost evolutionary negligence compared to the carbon fiber bones of the Zenthari or the metallic endoskeletons of the mechanoids. "Doctor." Chen simply nodded politely at Krextal's taunt. She had heard variations of it hundreds of times since joining the Corps. The fragile humans' jokes were a constant companion, whispered in corridors and shouted across training grounds. She had learned to endure them with the same patience. She applied to her scientific research. "Combat parameters set," announced the arena's AI. "Standard hand-to-hand engagement. Victory by submission, incapacitation or surrender. Combatants ready?" Krextal roared his assent, his massive claws extending from their sheaths. The sound reverberated through the arena like a landslide. Dr. Chen raised her hand quietly. "Ready?" "This is barbaric," General Thorak grumbled. "The human will be hospitalized for months." Commander Zephyr said nothing, but his eyes remained fixed on the human. There was something in her posture, a stillness that reminded him of a coiled spring. The starting bell chimed. Krextal charged immediately, his massive form thundering across the sand with surprising speed. His strategy was simple: end this quickly and humanely. A swift tackle would pin the human without causing serious injury to her brittle frame. Dr. Chen didn't move until the last possible second. What happened next would be analyzed in military academies for decades to come. As Krextal's claws reached for her, Dr. Chen stepped sideways with liquid grace. Her movement was economical, precise. No wasted energy, no unnecessary flourish. Her right hand, small and pale against Krextal's dark armor, made contact with his chest plate just below the sternum. The impact lasted less than a microsecond. Krextal's forward momentum stopped as if he had struck a wall. The massive Gorvanian's eyes widened in shock as hairline fractures spiderwebbed across his supposedly impenetrable chest armor. The cracks spread outward from the point of contact, and then, with a sound like breaking crystal, the entire front section of his exoskeleton shattered. Krextal collapsed backward, gasping. Armor fragments scattered across the sand like fallen leaves. The arena fell silent. Dr. Chen stood exactly where she had been, her expression unchanged. She looked down at Krextal with the same mild curiosity she might show when examining a particularly interesting specimen. The human bone structure, she said quietly, her voice carrying clearly in the stunned silence, evolved under 1 gravity conditions. Our planet has a surface gravity of 9.8 meters per second squared. She gestured to the arena around them. This station maintains standard galactic gravity, roughly 3.2 meters per second squared. Do you know what that means? Commander Zephyr found himself leaning forward despite his composure. It means, Dr. Chen continued, that what you call fragile bones were forged in a gravitational field 3 times stronger than what most of you call home. Every step we take on our homeworld requires the strength you use to leap. Every breath fights against atmospheric pressure that would crush most species' respiratory systems. She knelt beside the still wheezing Krextal, her manner now purely clinical. Your armor was designed to withstand energy weapons and projectiles, external forces distributed over surface area. But human martial arts evolved to transfer kinetic energy through precise pressure points, concentrating force into infinitesimal contact zones. The medical team rushed onto the sand, but Krextal waved them away. His pride was more damaged than his body. He stared up at the human in wonder. How? He wheezed. Dr. Chen smiled for the first time since entering the arena. Physics mostly, and about 30 years of karate practice. General Thorax mandibles hung open. Impossible. The medical scans showed human bone density is adapted for 3G conditions. Commander Zephyr finished, understanding dawning in his voice. We've been measuring them by our standards, not theirs. Dr. Chen stood and brushed sand from her uniform. The certification requirements stated hand-to-hand combat proficiency. I believe I've met those requirements. The arena erupted in stunned applause, but Dr. Chen was already walking toward the exit. She had research to complete, and the afternoon was getting late. Behind her, Krextal struggled to his feet, assisted by the medical team. As he looked at the shattered remains of his armor, a new understanding settled over him. The humans weren't fragile. They were just getting started.